So I wanted to do a video of me explaining my training regime and what do I do throughout the week that gets me prepared for the matches. Um, I usually have about 5 to 6 trainings a week. It consists of 2 times a week I do gym work, 2 times a week I do pro wrestling trainings, and 2 times a week I do MMA, kickboxing, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. So talking about like gym work and stuff, um, I think that if you're uh, if you're recreational or even if you're a pro wrestler, like 2 to 3 times a week of gym is more than enough. I have a lot of friends and people that I know that do that go to the gym more than 3 to 4 times a week, so it's like 5 times a week, and they have minimal results. You know, so if you look at me, how I look now in 2022 and how I looked back in, I don't know, 2018, 2019, in 2018 I trained in the gym minimum 3 to 4 times a week. Now I go to gym only 2 times a week. Why? Because well, first of all, like, muscle is not built in the gym. I think you already know that, but most of the people don't put it in practice. um, if you train 2 times a week or 3 times a week and you have pause periods between trainings, so I'll give you an example. You train on Monday and then on Tuesday you do either cardio, MMA, pro wrestling, and then on Wednesday you do gym again. That's good, but doing gym Monday and then no break Tuesday and then no break Wednesday, it's not. I wouldn't recommend it because the body needs like 48 hours to recover after a gym workout. Uh, I think most of the people are seeing what works for bodybuilders on Instagram that are not natural and that are living fitness, and then they magically assume that just because they're training 5 to 6 times a week that they should do it as well to get the best results, and that's not the case. If you're natural, for you would get better results if you train less times per week. So 2 to 3 times, 3 times per week for me, it's more than enough, to see results. Uh, where you actually get the results in the gym is actually from eating right and then having a good sleep hygiene. So what does it mean to have a good sleep hygiene? So that means to sleep every night at the same time for a minimum of 7 hours. So let's say you go to bed at 11 p.m. and you go to bed at 11 p.m. every day. The rhythm is everything for building muscle and strength. So even if you do one thing good, so let's say you do gym properly and then you don't sleep well but you eat right, you still didn't do nothing. So to get the best results in gym, you will need all three components, which is proper workout, proper activation, uh, food, and then sleep hygiene, which means sleeping at the same time every night, because your body needs to recover. Obviously, a regular intake of water is, something you must do. Uh, when it comes to food, I eat 3 times per day. I eat around 300 grams of meat and I eat 200 grams of rice, and with that I eat 30 grams of cheese. So those are my 3 meals per day. So I just rotate. Either I eat fish instead of meat or I eat pasta, but those are mostly my meals. Of course, I have some tomatoes with that as well and some salad with every meal. I would say I wouldn't recommend eating, more than 3 times per day, 6 times per day, because food is not energy, food is energy to be. So if you eat 6 times per day, all you're gonna do is eat, and most of the energy in your day is gonna go to digestion. So you're gonna be energy depleted, and you're gonna need more food throughout the day, because your body will usually ask for food more times per day rather than eating less times per day. So I do intakes of food. My I don't eat any less than those people that eat 6 times a day. I do it all in these three meals. I wouldn't recommend though everybody do this amount of food for themselves, because everybody is different. Everybody can activate their body in a different way, so therefore everybody needs different caloric intakes. But yeah, I just wanted to paint a bit of a picture of what my food regime looks like. Again, eating 6 times per day is something that people see that pro bodybuilders do, that again are not natural and that are living fitness. You don't want to live fitness, you want to live life. So I wouldn't recommend eating 6 times per day. There's absolutely no benefit of eating more times per day, other than when you're a professional bodybuilder you can really get more food. But we're not professional bodybuilders, and neither do we want to be. If we want to become pro wrestlers, we want to become athletes. We want to look the best, but we don't want to live that lifestyle. At least I'm speaking from my perspective and my experience, so to say. Having on the next subject, so if you want to become pro wrestler, I see a lot of the guys on the independent scene, they don't do any pro wrestling trainings. They think that because they started having matches, they don't need to do pro wrestling training, which is, very, I wouldn't agree with that. Like, do you see Cristiano Ronaldo not training 2 times per day, football? No, of course he does. It's just, I wouldn't say that's a good mentality, and most of the guys on the indie scene are like that. Obviously, nothing can replace in-ring experience in front of people. You cannot replace that with in-ring work on training. But drills, bumps, flips, practice matches, something, in my opinion, something everybody has to do. Because you want to become the best at this job, and you want to approach this like an athlete, like a professional athlete. I hope so. So you want to do it at minimum 2 times per week. That's just my advice. And also something that helped me greatly is doing other sport beside wrestling. For me, that's MMA. For you, that may be basketball, maybe football, doesn't matter. Although I think that every professional wrestler needs to have some basic MMA training, because if you cannot throw a shoot punch, then it's just, I don't think you can. There's very very little amount of guys that can main event, let's say WrestleMania, that are not athletes. You can argue and say, The Rock is not a professional MMA fighter, but The Rock looks like a beast and is an athlete. And, then you can give me an example of CM Punk, who is obviously not a natural athlete, but he is phenomenal on the microphone and has great charisma. And those are the arguments that most of the guys on the independent scene are having about, not... Those are actually the excuses people have for not doing extra work. But you have to remember, you're not CM Punk, You're not nowhere near The Rock. Maybe one day you'll be. So you need to do extra work. You need to not only look like an athlete, but you need to train like an athlete. If your objective is, and hopefully it is, the main event WrestleMania, to become at the top of the wrestling game in any company whatsoever, doesn't matter which company it is, you need to be the best version of yourself. You need to be the best possible athlete. So I would definitely advise you to do some kind of sports at least 2 times per week. This is going to give you proper balance, stability, motoric skills, coordination, something that's imperative, for this sport. And obviously, if you have time, I would throw in some acting classes. It's always the must-have. Doing promos, Doing promos and training is also a good thing. That's what we do here regularly, 2 times per week. We always do after match promos, before match promos. I like to do after match promos because you're already hyped from the match and it simulates the atmosphere the most. But even doing it regularly in front of the mirror, if you're at home by yourself, is a good thing. Lastly, I got a lot of questions about people think that I'm on steroids and stuff. I never took steroids, and I don't plan to doing them. Unfortunately, I see a lot of the guys on the indie scene that are taking them, and they do not look good. Steroids are not a shortcut, guys. So steroids are something you take when you're at top elite level to stay healthy. So if you are not putting in the work in the form of training, sleep and nutrition, steroids won't do good. And you have to remember that once you take steroids, you're going to have to take them for the rest of your life if you want to have normal levels of testosterone. There's a lot of the guys I know that took steroids and they didn't know how to balance their hormones properly, and now unfortunately they have a lot of health issues. They can grow their breasts, they can get fat. It's really not a good thing to do. There's no shortcuts to this. There's no shortcuts for anything in life. So I would definitely not recommend anybody doing steroids at top level. My opinion is that everybody is on steroids in top level in every sport, because there's too much money to be made and too much money to be invested in you not to be on steroids, because steroids not only give you a power advantage and strength advantage, they give you a faster recovery time. And that's why for example, bodybuilders can train 6 times a week and recover, can eat 6 meals a day because they're on steroids. They have different insulin levels, they can absorb more food, they can recover quickly, they can train more. If you're not on steroids, you cannot do that. So try not to copy what bodybuilders are doing, because bodybuilders are different breed, different animals. They live their sport and they're mostly on hormones. So you cannot copy and paste what they eat, what they do, and even what they train. Because if you want to become a pro wrestler, I wouldn't even recommend general bodybuilding training, because it's not something that will bring you closer to sport. If you want to find some exercise that are good for sport-specific training, it doesn't matter which sport it is. You can see my shorts. What do I do? There's mostly unilateral, one-legged isometric training, because most of the movements in nature are unilateral. What does unilateral mean? It means single leg RDLs, single leg squats. Why? Because most of the motoric units in our body can be activated that way, and it simulates movement the most. So if you're interested, just see some of my shorts, and even on my Instagram there's a lot of exercises I do in the gym, because most of my trainings tries to simulate things in nature, because I want to be better in sport. And then obviously at the end of the workout I do a little bit of hypertrophy, which is bodybuilding, just a little bit, 1 or 2 sets, 12 repetitions to squeeze out the muscle, to have that volume, but also with active core, because I don't want to stress my joints. And another thing I would recommend is what I found throughout my experience on this journey is that best cardio for pro wrestling or best cardio for boxing is just doing that sport. Best cardio for wrestling is doing wrestling. Shout out to my mentor, Chris Jokic. He has great it's not CrossFit cardio workouts, but something similar where he incorporated movements that can be transferred in sport. So let's say wall slams with a medicine ball, jumps on box, and yes, you can create certain workouts, certain cardio workouts, hit high intensity training that that have movements that will transfer to sport. But I wouldn't recommend doing CrossFit, for cardio and doing things like that, doing 50 deadlifts and then going straight to, 50 kettlebell swings and 50 push-ups. You're not going to get better cardio, or you're not going to get better cardio with running for any sport, What running, for instance, will do, it will expand your lung capacity. So yeah, your lungs and heart will be able to get more oxygen in it, but you'll just get adapted to that one motion, which is running, and then you're just going to use less and less energy for that same movement. So the same goes with pro wrestling. If you want to build cardio for pro wrestling, I would say get in the ring and do the drills and do the work, do matches. That's the best way to actually do cardio in any sport, is just do that sport. And then obviously find some specific, if you want to do some specific movements that simulate things that will transfer to life, and then incorporate them in your cardio workout. But yeah, basically that's what I do throughout the week. So 2 times a week gym with at least 1 day of pause between them. 2 times a week MMA, and 2 times a week pro wrestling. So I do 5 to 6 trainings a week. Obviously I don't hit 6 every week. It's depending how you feel. Yeah. One thing I would also recommend is, not killing yourself in the gym, because there's absolutely no point to that. Body needs to recover. If you kill yourself in every workout, in any workout, to be honest, even if it's MMA, pro wrestling, or just regular gym, you're not gonna reap the benefits. You're not gonna see results, because you're gonna go into survival mode, which is going to put you in a state where you actually can't grow, and you're gonna do most of the movements with your joints. And I wouldn't recommend that. There's more chances of you injuring yourself. The smartest way is to find a balance, because obviously you cannot train being too careful as well, because then you're going to injure yourself 100%. But then you cannot train yourself of being too hardcore, because that's just not the way to get prepared for matches. Obviously, if we have a match on Saturday, I won't train 2 to 3 days before the match, because I want to have most energy for my trip and for the match itself. So yeah, I think I covered everything. I hope I helped somebody that wants to, do any sport, maybe not pro wrestling, but any sport whatsoever. Just something that helped me a lot. So yeah, let me know what topics you want me to talk about. I did get a lot of good things for this series, so I'm happy to talk about anything on my journey. And yeah, thank you for listening. Please hit that subscribe button, please. A lot of you guys are sharing this video, so thank you very much. And yeah, I'll hear from you soon. Bye.